Previously on the all-new adventures of the Doctor Who Book Club podcast.
I have heard a rumour that Donna Noble's coming back.
I've heard that rumor as well.
Yes, so I wanted to get reacquainted with Donna.
And I know there aren't that many Donna Noble books out there too, so...
No. So we are going to be experiencing Ghosts of India by Mark Morris.
Interesting. Okay.
It is available in ebook, audiobook, read by David Troughton. Yeah, Ghosts of India, man.
Excellent. Very much looking forward to that. And
yes.
It'll be interesting too to see how Mark Morris handles a new series.
Yeah, with a slightly different tone, maybe. Or not. Maybe it's going to be...
I'm assuming it's going to be horror related, but I can deal with it. It's okay.
And now our story continues.
Welcome, everyone, to the all-new adventures of the Doctor Who Book Club podcast. This is Matt in Minnesota.
It's Chris in South London. How's it going, Matt?
It's going pretty well, Chris. After 17 years of driving my old car, I finally have a new car. So
oh, wow. Okay.
I decided to say goodbye to the internal combustion engine and get an electric car.
Cool.
And no, not a Tesla. So
right, yes.
I'm super thrilled. It's a 2023 Chevy Bolt EUV in electric TARDIS blue.
Nice.
And I'm probably most excited that my old car did not have an auxiliary input or a functioning CD player, although the tape deck did work. So
right.
After spending 10 months on a waiting list, I finally have one. So I'm
cool.
Super excited about that.
That's
and
so cool.
Hopefully it'll make a dent in my Big Finish backlog now.
Yes.
How are things going with you?
August has been a fun month. One of our podcast pets, Saunders the Rabbit, looked as if she was exiting. She is still on the scene.
Still with us.
Still with us. Like today, she did a run across her room. And so I think she is determined to show, look, I am well. I was like, you're not. But the vet has said that there are red lines and you're not crossing those red lines yet. So cool. Let's keep the party going.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is still a matter of time. She may yet see David Tennant's return.
That's good.
Who knows when she'll depart? Her regeneration story has not been written yet.
She has a reprieve, at least.
She does, but certainly last week I was thinking of a line from Logopolis. Like, this is the end, but the moment's been prepared for.
Yeah.
That is Logopolis, right, isn't it? Yeah, I think so. Yes.
And also the opening of Castrovalva.
Yes, funnily enough. So I think we have book news a go-go, don't we?
We do, yes. So it was revealed on a recent Power of Three podcast that Peter Harness's target novelization of the Zygon two-parter, which was delayed a year, we found out the reason for that, and that was because Peter contracted COVID.
Oh, bless him.
And had brain fog for like a long time, and it's since cleared up, but now we know why.
Yes, bless him.
And we have lots of books coming out in the next couple of months. We've got the 6 Doctor Who Decades books, Liberation of the Daleks, the remaining entries in Doomsday, but we've covered those on previous months.
Yes.
So this month we have 6 new audio exclusive books from the BBC to tell you about, 2 that are out now and 4 that'll be released in the coming months.
Yeah. So firstly, on August the 3rd, so in the past, which means you can buy and download it now, The Teeth of Ice was released, which is written by Andy Lane and read by Dan Starkey, and features the 8th Doctor posing as a medical officer at a remote Antarctic base. So, that has slight seeds of... I always get it confused whether it's Doom or Death. Yes.
Doom, yeah.
Yes.
And then on September 7th, The Beast of Scar Hill was released, which is a Ninth Doctor and Rose story by Mark Wright, set on the snowy Yorkshire moors and read by Mina Anwar.
And October the 5th, which is in the future, if you listen to this episode on day of release, we have an adventure called The Lagoon Monsters by Gary Russell. And this features the 10th Doctor and Martha materialising on an 18th century sailing ship off the coast of New Zealand. And this is read by Sean Carson, aka Narvin from Big Finish. I'm trying to think of Doctor Who stories set in New Zealand. Is this the first? I don't think there are many.
Well, there's was it the Audio Blood Tide, which was on the SS Beagle?
Oh.
I don't know if they visited New Zealand in that one, but that was
I
in the vicinity.
In the vicinity, yes, in the general area.
And then on December 7th, we have a 12th Doctor and Clara story by Steve Lyons called The Cuckoo, where Clara finds herself suddenly replaced by a new companion called Eric's. And this one is read by Jay Griffiths. It gives me like Torchwood vibes. That one episode, was it Adam, or I can't remember.
Yes, there is one. I can't remember. But also on December 7th, we have a 13th Doctor and Graham story called The Romanoff Project by Neil Bushnell. And it's intriguing that it's the 13th Doctor and Graham. It doesn't say where Ryan and Yaz are. However, if you were going to do just two of them, like an interesting pairing is the 13th Doctor and Graham.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good pairing.
And no words on who's reading that one yet. I'm assuming they can't get Bradley Walsh, but we'll see.
He's back to being a permanently busy chap again, I think.
And then finally, due out on January 4th, is Escape the Daleks. This one is again by Steve Lyons and features the Third Doctor and Joe trapped in an escape room with Daleks. So I didn't know escape rooms were a thing in the 1970s or 80s, but that's pretty cool.
Maybe the TARDIS was being used by the Time Lords for reasons again, but
yeah.
So Steve Lyons alluded to his writing something that was going to be announced later when I saw him in May. So I suspect these are they. And there was also an allusion by Johnny Morris to something, but I have yet to find out what that is, unless it's a Big Finish script. Because I don't pay close attention to authors of upcoming Big Finish scripts.
I know he's co-writing that big 60th anniversary Hootopia with Una McCormack, I think.
Which may be that.
But yeah, it could be something else too. Yeah.
Yes, that may be that.
But yeah, lots of exciting audio exclusive adventures coming out, and those don't usually get as much attention as some of the other releases, so I'm glad we're spotlighting them here.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So, I think this takes us on to show and tell. Is it not? And so, Matt, what do you have for us?
So this is in my pile of show and tell stuff that I'm super excited about. In July of this year at San Diego Comic-Con, Character Options released a limited edition version of the 14th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver, which I happen to have in hand. And so I am opening it right now, trying to avoid the little plastic tabs and stuff to keep the packaging. There we go. Let's see if it works. Here's what it sounds like. Sounds very similar to the regular one. Let's try another setting. Kind of a little bit of feedback there. And it comes with 4 different settings. I guess they only made 1,000 of these in total, and they opened up pre-orders for an online version as well, but those haven't been produced yet. And it very much combines, like the center portion is kind of that distressed, cracked coral that you get from the 10th Doctor's Sonic. The base is very much similar to the 11th Doctor's, and then the emitter is kind of, in its closed configuration, looks quite like Capaldi's second screwdriver, and then open it looks like the 11th Doctor's.
Right.
Kind of a weird thing where if you remove the battery, there's a little switch inside that you can change the color. It usually has a blue, kind of a light blue emitter, but you can also do red, yellow, and green. And no word on if Ncuti Gatwa is going to be using this Sonic or if he has his own.
Yeah.
But I guess the difference between this one and the regular version that Character Actions is going to come out with is this one is chrome plated. It kind of looks like vac metal. Otherwise, I think they're identical. So
yeah,
feels good to have one in hand.
Yes, yeah. I kind of hope that Shooty sticks with the same screwdriver and TARDIS set as the 14th, because otherwise there's a little bit of a fear of milking the fans, maybe. We'll see.
It was also interesting that this screwdriver got its own 2-minute intro video from.
Yes. Yes.
You don't see that on Ahsoka or some of the Star Wars shows, showing off lightsabers and stuff. So
no, you don't.
It's cool though. And it hasn't yet appeared in Liberation of the Daleks, so I'm wondering if it's going to make an appearance at some point in that comic story, or if it's just going to show up in the Star Beast when that comes around.
Yeah. There aren't many episodes left of Liberation of the Daleks, so it's going to rock up. It's going to rock up pretty soon.
How about you, Chris, for Show and Tell?
Right. So I took Lauren for a birthday treat to a place that she's always wanted to go to. Which was Highgate Cemetery, because she writes horror. Highgate Cemetery seemed like a good place to go, and so amongst all the various memorials to people like Karl Marx and George Eliot, there is Douglas Adams. We saw the final resting place of, at least I think, his ashes, and it has the number 42 by it, and lots of pens that have been left there over the years. It was quite poignant, and I'd forgotten that his remains were there in Highgate Cemetery. So, we went on it was a very atmospheric tour. I mean, very tastefully done as well. We went on a tour of the west side, which has catacombs and all of the Gothic stuff you would want in a cemetery, and the east side is a bit more where you have the famous folk. So, the George Eliots, the Karl Marx. Also, Roger Lloyd Pack from that Cyberman two-parter, who is a renowned and respected comic actor in the UK, even if I think possibly non-UK audiences familiar with his Doctor Who work will kind of go, oh, okay, is this guy revered? So we went to pay our respects to Douglas Adams, and it was quite a beautiful and understated little celebration.
Did you encounter any weeping angels there?
We didn't think so, but certainly as we were moving around, it was like, this is creepy. But then again, you're in a graveyard. It's supposed to be creepy.
There's a really old cemetery in Minneapolis that has a few of them. Really old in the United States parlance. It was, of course, 150 years old or less.
Yes.
But,
yes.
Yeah, we have a few there.
Yes, I think post George Eliot, maybe. So, it was worth a visit, I would say. But you certainly need to have your hiking boots on, because you're in for a bit of a walk. They have umbrellas on loan, which came very handy, because it chucked it down at one point. We were sheltering in the catacombs from the raid, but also we'd be locked in by our guide, deliberately. And I was just thinking, this is somewhat creepy. If this was a Doctor Who story, then things would be getting real about now.
So the Highgate Cemetery, very cool.
Yes, Highgate Cemetery.
And speaking of cemeteries and ghosts, this month we've read Ghosts of India by Mark Morris.
Indeed, we have.
And we've read, I think, one other book by him, right? Deep Blue?
Yes, Deep Blue, yes.
And he seems to be most comfortable in the horror genre.
Yeah. If people have got their skates on, they can see him the day or two that this episode drops at the UK Fantasy Con. Where he's going to be one of the speakers. This is going to be in Birmingham. Yeah, it's I think it's September the 16th. Get your skates on, folks, and you might be able to go and see him. So Lauren's also going to be there. I shan't, because I will be looking after Paulie Bunny. Do go and say hi to him if you are in the Birmingham area.
Cool.
Yeah, he wrote The Body Snatchers for the 8th Doctor, one of the early books in the 8th Doctor range. As you say, he leans into the horror.
And this particular novel was published in hardcover in September 2008, some 15 years ago now.
Don't say that. Oh, no.
And is the 25th new series adventure. And there's also an abridged audiobook read by David Troughton, which we'll be hearing an excerpt from in a moment. And the novel takes place in Calcutta in 1947. And we should note, too, that Calcutta was renamed Kolkata in 2001 and is the largest city in the Indian state of West Bengal and the capital. And the structure of this book, it has a prologue, 14 untitled chapters, and some acknowledgments. And I think we'll just go ahead and jump right in.
Yeah, let's get started.
So we open with the dramatic reading from David Troughton. Chris, your friend from the telly.
Yes.
That one guy, which is taken from the prologue. Let's have a listen.
Ranjit picked his way through the neem trees and the green-blossomed champerlay. He was trying to be quiet because he didn't want the monkeys to hear him. Sometimes the monkeys pelted him with rotten mangoes or poisonous berries. In spite of them, however, Ranjit preferred sleeping in the old temple to sleeping at the camp. The camp was full of sick people, crying women and hungry babies, and he went there for 3 reasons only: for food, to see Miss Adelaide, and to find out whether Uncle Mahmoud had turned up. Deep down, Ranjit didn't think he would ever see Uncle Mahmoud again. He had been Ranjit's guardian since the boy's parents had died of cholera 6 years ago, and Ranjit knew his uncle would not willingly abandon him, which must mean that something terrible had happened. Terrible things were happening all over India. Every day more people were killed in the violence sweeping the country. Calcutta was a war zone, which was why Ranjit could not return to his uncle's house. Some people thought things would settle down once the English had gone home, but others claimed that without the English to govern them, India would descend into civil war. At last, Ranjit came to the temple. Though the stonework was elaborately carved, the building was long abandoned. It was festooned with vines, and birds and insects had made their homes in the crumbling stonework. But it provided shelter, and it was quiet, if you ignored the rustling of cockroaches and the distant cries of the owls. It was stiflingly hot tonight, and the sky was full of strange colours. But at least the heat seemed to have driven the monkeys away. Ranjit was walking across the clearing when he noticed the light in the sky. It hung above the temple, yellow as a firefly. Ranjit craned his neck to look at it. Then he blinked. Was the light getting bigger? A minute ago he had been unable to see the corona around it, but now it resembled a fiery mane. He swallowed. Could he hear a soft roaring sound? What he couldn't hear were the night sounds he was used to. All at once he felt scared and alone. The light was as big as a dinner plate now, turning the tower from black to gold. As the light grew brighter still, Ranjit closed his eyes. He slapped his hands over his ears as the roar of the thing's descent rose to an unbearable shriek. Eventually he could bear it no longer, and he passed out. When he came to, the sky was black again, studded with stars, and the insects were trilling softly. Rising to his feet, Ranjit turned and faced the temple. And instantly he realized where the light had gone. It was streaming from the porch and the cracks in the weathered stonework, pulsing like a glowing heart. Ranjit felt apprehensive, but no longer frightened. He entered the glowing temple as if in a trance.
Thank you, David, for reading that.
So, Dave.
That was an abridged version of the prologue, so if you have the physical or digital copy of the book, you can follow along and see how the text was abridged. All of the main points are there, but a lot of the detail, like the description of the jungle and the temple, was cut out. I want to say it was around this time, too, that the novels started going from abridged to unabridged for their audios. And then also with Ranjit, as we heard, meeting a depiction of the god Shiva. So I have to talk about this for a second because crossing fandoms here to Xena Warrior Princess. This book came out some 10 years after an episode of Xena aired in February of 1999, where Xena, on her travels in India, gets possessed by Krishna and is transformed into Kali, growing a couple of additional arms in the process.
Right.
In an episode called The Way, which was pulled from syndication due to protests from Hindu groups until it could be re-edited with a disclaimer added both to the opening and a specially filmed apology for the close of the episode.
Yeah.
And in fact, that episode was never broadcast in the UK or most other countries, although it did air in Canada and was released on DVD and such. So it does make me wonder, with this book and the depiction of Shiva, if had it been more widely known, perhaps there would have been a similar sort of outcry.
Yeah. I remember in the 90s reading a Marvel comic, one of the 4 ones, THOR, because I can't pronounce my THs. And the letters column was dealing with the aftermath of a similar story in which Thor had travelled the world and met people from other pantheons. And a mother had written in, pointing out quite rightly, that it had depicted, I can't remember whether it was Shiva or it was another god or goddess from that pantheon, and said that you've depicted someone who's actually worshipped in our family and our household, and you haven't done this in a particularly tasteful way, and you need to be careful with what you're doing.
But Shiva really only appears in that opening prologue, and it's for a brief instance, so it's not like that character's a major plot point, but it is eyebrow raising, I'll say.
Yes, so they kind of go, oh, okay. So, right. Okay, so in the TARDIS, Donna is expressing a desire for a curry, and so the Doctor sets the coordinates and lands in Calcutta, expecting it to be 1937, because there's a great little place he knows. So he starts leading Donna through the alleyways, but he's not really noticing all the debris and burnt out buildings. But it's only when he kind of arrives at the gutted remains of said wonderful little place that he knows that he realises something's amiss. And an old man tells him that it's 1947. So the Doctor tells Donna that these are the last days of British India, and that riots are sweeping the streets, particularly in Calcutta. And just then, a mass of people stampede toward them, and they're pursued by British troops on horseback. And the Doctor and Donna are separated in the confusion, and the Doctor finds himself plunging back into the melee to rescue an Indian doctor called Gopal from beneath the hooves of a horse.
And of course, the Doctor and Donna get separated by page 30.
Yeah.
I prefer the ones where they aren't separated, but it seems to happen every book we read.
Yeah.
It's just, plot reasons, but it would be refreshing, authors, if in the future there was a book where they just experienced an adventure together, but it is not this one.
No.
We should note too that the Doctor is wearing, or for a time wore, a sun visor, which was given to him by Ginger Spice, which he loses in the confusion in the crowd as well.
Yes. Ginger Spice, not the only historical figure to make an appearance or be mentioned in this book.
Indeed. So, meanwhile, at a makeshift camp some miles away, we meet Edward Morgan, who is very upset that Gopal, the doctor that the Doctor rescues, is late for work in the camp. Morgan is a young doctor committed to helping all of the poor and sick that come to him. However, as more and more people arrive, mainly suffering from malnutrition, he finds himself working himself into exhaustion. And his closest companion is a young English woman, Adelaide, who looks up to him with respect. And Adelaide is working as a nurse in the camps. And Morgan takes her to the third of 3 tents set up containing their patients, and this one is a quarantine zone reserved for people suffering from a new and terrible disease that not only disfigures them, but turns them into aggressive, unhinged psychopaths.
Elsewhere in Calcutta, we encounter Cameron Campbell, who is the younger brother of Adelaide, and he's worrying a bit about the disappearance of Ranjit, the boy from the prologue. And he's also as well a bit bored that the Troubles are keeping him confined to the house, and he's also finding himself, to his surprise, starting to look forward to his family's imminent return to England. One little thing, if I just make a very slight detour here, I was listening to an excellent podcast called Empire, which is presented by Anita Anand and William Dalrymple. And the first season of it is about the British in India, and it's done through a very critical lens. And one of the things I hadn't quite realised was that a lot of the British did just leave because very few of them actually owned property in India. And so that's why you didn't have a situation like you have had in South Africa and other places where the British were there working for a company. They had accommodation provided for them by and large, but when they retired, they would retire back to the UK because they didn't own anything. And that is thought to have possibly helped avoid a situation where you had British folk hanging around after the creation of India, causing tensions like you have had in Zimbabwe and South Africa and other places. But anyway, sorry, I'd recommend Empire if you wish to hear more about this period and the British time in India, because unfortunately we don't get taught about it in British schools. Which is a shame, because it's a very important lesson, I feel, for the Brits to learn, to make sure that we don't repeat. But anyway, right, sorry.
On that point, too, I think
Yes.
there's quite a bit of language used in this book, which I would say is dated.
Oh, yes.
Or, both from city names, but also words used to describe skilled and unskilled laborers. And, well, that language was widespread in 1947. It's doubtful that such language would be used or perhaps even published today, but it's weird to think that 15 years ago it might have been unremarkable. So it shows too how we've progressed, I think, in terms of sensitivity around it too.
Yes, yeah. So, so we have Cameron in his thoughts, the younger brother of Adelaide, and there's a shower of stones at his window, which is announcing the sudden welcome return of Ranjit, who is keen to tell him about his adventure at the temple a week earlier. And the boys meet on the porch and make plans to visit the temple early the next morning. But their conversation is interrupted when the family's servant, Bekaj, I think? Yeah, Bekaj, drives Ranjit off with a well-aimed rock to the head. And Cameron's displeasure is forgotten when Major Dacre arrives at the house, accompanied by Donna. And Donna is particularly unhappy at losing the doctor and being placed under virtual house arrest for her own safety. And she finds it difficult to fit in with the etiquette of the Campbell household, and tries to explain away her presence in Calcutta as being part of the hippie movement before realising that she's about 20 years too early. To her relief, there's a bit of a distraction when suddenly a gigantic crocodile, disfigured by huge growths on its body, attempts to attack the house. And Major Dacre steps into its path and shoots the crocodile dead.
Yeah, and you kind of get military or brigadier vibes from Major Dacre, I would say.
Yeah. Also, I get T.P. McKenna vibes from The Greatest Show in the Galaxy. The guy who plays Captain Kirk. I think that's who I would cast.
And with this infection both spreading
Yes.
to humans and crocodiles and snakes and other animals, parts of this seemed very similar to Deep Blue for me,
Yes.
where here you have this black goo infection creating rage zombies and mutated animals, and in Deep Blue it was very, very similar, but it was the fish in the water, and it had the same effect with kind of infections and zombified people.
Yeah.
There was a moment there where I thought, is this like a stealth sequel to to Deep Blue or something?
Yeah.
But apparently not. It's just Mark Morris's fascination with the undead and zombies and such.
Yeah.
And the scenes with Donna trying to adjust to the household. I mean, I love any of the scenes where Donna is talking back to his, authority figures. And
Yes. And we are well served for those in this, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, meanwhile, the doctor tries to take his leave of Gopal, the Indian doctor, in order to find Donna. And Gopal, however, suggests that Donna may have been taken to the camp where he works. And so the doctor accompanies him there to the refugee camp, where he's shocked and saddened by the misery of all the displaced people there. And he learns about the new disease that is bringing many people into the camp, and the doctor's intrigued and makes for the isolation tent to investigate further, and he uses the psychic paper to pass himself off as Dr. John Smith of the Royal College of Surgeons Rare and Tropical Diseases Unit, And his sonic tells him that the new illness is caused by cellular disruption, the result of Zytron energy, which isn't due to be discovered on Earth for like 3,000 years. And he asks if there have been any strange lights in the sky, and Adelaide confirms that there were some about a week earlier, and Gopal adds that a shooting star fell to the ground around the same time. And Adelaide further divulges a rumor of half-made men that are stealing people away. They're like chalk-like creatures that are like unfinished and are missing eyes where their face would be. It's just kind of shadows, and they're kind of half-rendered people. Would be a way to describe them, and they're depicted on the cover of the book too. And Adelaide says that one woman in the camp claims that her husband was stolen in such a manner, and the doctor insists that Adelaide take him to this woman, where he soon learns more about the creatures, that they don't have any hair, their like skin is almost like marble. And as soon as he learns that, a ripple of excitement runs through the camp, where we're greeted by the arrival of Mohandas Mahatma Gandhi.
Yeah.
So this becomes a celebrity historical.
It does. So Gandhi is introduced to Adelaide and the doctor, who are both entranced by the man's history and personality. And Gandhi is similarly taken with the doctor and insists that they call him Mohandas. After a short philosophical debate, they find Ranjit among them, and Ranjit's desperate to talk. And his head's been bandaged after what happened to him at the Campbell house. But he ignores his injuries as he's more keen to tell Gandhi about his encounter with Shiva in the temple the previous week.
So the attack on Ranjit from his fellow Indian there.
Yeah.
The book does have some interesting things to say about like the caste system in India.
Yes.
As well as how bad imperialism is and such too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not looking back with nostalgia, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
There's definitely a very critical eye.
At one point, Mark Morris does have the 10th Doctor praising Mother Teresa. Mark may want to read Christopher Hitchens' writings about her.
Yes. But, I mean, she, of course, will work in Calcutta further down the line. But, yes, certainly I noticed that as well. I kind of went, yeah, that. That line might not be written now.
Yeah. So then we find Major Dacker returning to the British Army camp, and he's sharing a whiskey with a Captain McMahon, or McMahon?
McMahon? I'm not sure. I should have asked a Scottish Australian I know, but yeah, McMahon. We'll say McMahon.
They find a group of young privates huddled together on the parade ground, claiming that 2 of their number had been kidnapped by these mysterious white figures that arrived and vanished in a flash of light. And racing to the barracks to investigate, Major Dacker and Captain McMahon find that the ghosts have vanished. And they separate to search the camp perimeter, but the captain is suddenly kidnapped by 2 of the ghostly assailants. One of them vanishes in a silvery shimmer with the soldier just as Dacker is running to get help. And then the second turns towards Dacker, who shoots it several times, not killing the creature, but causing it to vanish as well, presumably in some sort of like transmat or... That's where my mind went.
Yes, definitely. So Cameron is waiting for Ranjit, and because Ranjit hasn't appeared by 5 o'clock when they were due to meet, Cameron decides to set out for the temple alone, and he rides past the way on his bicycle, and is somewhat concerned that no one is about, as he'd have expected that on a normal day. And he has a puncture, and so he then kind of heads by foot. He then encounters a 30-foot cobra, somewhat misshapen like the crocodile, and whilst that scares Cameron, he manages to drive it off with his catapult.
And there's a reference to Dennis the Menace at that point,
Yes.
Which, depending on what side of the Atlantic you're on, you may have different imagery there.
Yes. Donna, meanwhile, wakes up in the Campbell house and descends for breakfast wearing one of Adelaide's dresses. And she makes an ally in Ronnie, the oldest of the Campbell children. And Adelaide returns full of news about her tough but interesting night at the camp. And she's amazed when Donna says she's looking for the doctor, because he's one of the things that Adelaide wants to talk about. So Donna races off to the camp just as the Doctor, along with Ranjit, Gopal and Gandhi, setting off for the temple on 4 elephants. So Donna kind of manages to catch up with them and so joins their expedition.
And there's a missed opportunity there for Donna to use one of her favorite insults with the elephants, which is a Dumbo.
Yes, yeah. But I mean, she's overawed at meeting Gandhi, isn't she?
Yeah.
It's quite sweet. And they near the temple and discover Cameron being sort of held at bay by a pack of overlarge monkeys. And the Doctor, fortunately, has a firework in his pocket, as you do, and manages to scare the monkeys away.
No word if it's a galactic glitter, but I like to think so. And then at the temple, the Doctor forbids the boys to enter, but he goes in with Donna, Gandhi, and one of Gandhi's attendants. And inside the temple, they all see something different. Donna sees a depiction of the Rachnas from The Runaway Bride. The attendant sees Shiva, much like Ranjit did in the prologue. Well, Gandhi sees darkness descending on the world, and the Doctor sees it for what it is, a disguised spaceship. And he uses the sonic screwdriver to disable the cloaking technology, but then the spaceship immediately vanishes. And this turns out to be glamour technology from a species called the Cladavorish. And I didn't realize this, but this is the first appearance of like the glamour technology. And then it's expanded upon in a later 11th Doctor novel called The Glamour Chase. And then again in a trilogy of 12th Doctor books called The Glamour Chronicles, one of which we've read, but I don't recall anything about glamour technology in Big Bang Generation. And we see something very similar in The End of Time with shimmer technology. And I feel like that may have been a missed opportunity in the End of Time script to call the technology a glamour instead of a shimmer, because it's basically the same thing.
Yes.
But yeah, it's kind of weird that this little technology spawns a whole series of follow-up books, because it was, very kind of incidental to the narrative.
Yes. Yeah. When I was reading like glamour, I was like, "Is this where it all starts?" Really? Okay, here, fine.
Yeah, and then on the way back to the camp, the Doctor explains that they've seen this glamour in use, which is a psychic shield that shows itself as whatever the viewer is most afraid of. So also kind of similar to what we saw in the God Complex.
Yeah.
And to Donna's amazement, Gandhi accepts all of the futuristic technology and explanation at face value. And back at the camp, the Doctor announces his intention to return to the TARDIS to seek out the source of the Zytron energy, which is the unstable energy that is mutating all of the life in the area. And that I had to look up too, because I was wondering, have we heard of this before, like Artron energy or something? But this appears to be unique to this particular novel. But then the Doctor, when he's calibrating his machinery in the TARDIS, he notices that his sonic screwdriver is now missing.
Yeah. So back in the Campbell household, they've realised that Cameron has disappeared. And then Major Dacre arrives, and he adds the boy's apparent kidnapping to that of his 3 men the night before, and adds Sir Edward's permission, Sir Edward Campbell's permission to search the city, and Sir Edward agrees. Back on the screwdriver story, Ranjit has seen another boy in the camp with a screwdriver, and the boy says the Doctor dropped it while getting off an elephant. And then runs off into a field with Ranjit in pursuit. And as they fight for control of the screwdriver, a boy kind of like activates something on the device, and suddenly 2 of the mysterious white men promptly appear in the field. And Ranjit escapes, but the men grab the other boy and vanish. Donna and Gandhi return Cameron to his home, where Gandhi has an appointment with the boy's father.
And Ranjit was able to get a hold of the sonic before the other 2 men kind of spirited the boy away, so he at least has the sonic. And then Major Dacre leads a party of the soldiers through the poorest parts of Calcutta, growing steadily more angry with each house as they search. and is getting more and more angry and upset as from house to house. And
Yeah.
some of the houses are abandoned, some are occupied, and no one has any knowledge about the missing British citizens. The Major eventually works himself up into such a state that he threatens one family with his revolver. One of his men, Wilkins, intervenes, and the Major turns his gun on his own soldier. But then the remainder of the group of soldiers speak up and say that what the Major's doing is wrong and is threatening to murder these people in their homes. And they all try to reason with Major Decker, who eventually fires a shot into the air and promptly collapses. And his hat falls off, revealing that he has black growths around his head and neck that are effects of that same Zytron poisoning.
And the Doctor emerges from the TARDIS with his timey-wimey detector. Yay.
From Blink.
Yes, adjusted to locate the sonic screwdriver, and it leads him on a frantic dash through the back streets until his progress is stopped by a large man with a huge club. And this man has got all of the enlargements and growths associated with the Zytron poisoning, as well as a psychotic desire to murder the Doctor. And just when this guy seems about to succeed, and after he'd smashed the timey-wimey detector, the assailant is shot dead by Wilkins. And the Doctor is saddened by this loss of life, as is Wilkins, because he's never killed anyone before. And so the Doctor strides off in pursuit of alien tech.
And I'm also saddened by the destruction of the timey-wimey detector, too. Rest in peace.
Yes.
So Donna, meanwhile, is having lunch in the garden with Mary, Adelaide, and Cameron. And Adelaide is telling Donna about her work at the camp, while Mary, who's like the matriarch of the house, voices her disapproval, saying that Indians are not grateful for the help they receive, which raises Donna's ire. And this was actually going to be my pick for like the dramatic reading, but it was excised from the abridged version entirely. So the whole scene is missing. But Donna questions, what the English are doing there in India in the first place. And you have Mary talking about attempting to instill the populace with what she deems as correct values, which bring civilization and stability to the country. And Donna replies, maybe they have their own values and ways of doing things. Maybe they don't want your values.
Yeah.
It was a great scene.
Yeah. It also reminds me of a slightly earlier scene in which she's dealing with the Campbell family, in which Donna says that her cousin Janice is married to a Sikh, and Ronnie asks, in Calcutta? And Donna says, no, Basildon. Yeah.
And just as this full-scale argument seems about to erupt between Donna and Mary, Ranjit arrives with the sonic screwdriver, followed by Dr. Gopal. And to Mary's distaste, Donna invites them to sit down and join them at the table and explain where Ranjit found the device. And inside the house, Gandhi's discussions with Sir Edgar are not going well. They've reached a cultural impasse just as the Doctor bursts in. And he tells Sir Edgar that there's a major threat to the safety of the population, and he needs his help in galvanizing all available forces to search the area for the source of the dangerous energy. And when Sir Edgar rejects this out of hand, dismissing the Doctor as a crank, Gandhi offers to put all of his followers at the Time Lord's disposal. And seeing Donna through the French windows, the Doctor goes out onto the lawn, where Ranjit returns the screwdriver to the Doctor and tells him about how he rescued it from the two half-made men. And the Doctor suspects that someone has put a trace on the device and immediately turns it on. And indeed, 4 of these unfinished men appear in the garden, surround them, and then all vanish with the Doctor.
Which would be a very good cliffhanger, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. So the Doctor arrives at the destination full of anger, and he's recognised his captors as being Gelem warriors, which are cannon fodder from the War of 500 Worlds. And they're remorseless troops siphoned off from captured races to make machine creatures fashioned from pseudo-flesh. And 5 living creatures have died to make each unthinking warrior. And the Doctor's marched through a cave system into a vast spaceship, the product of many apparently incompatible technologies. And the Doctor's impressed with the mind that could fuse so many disparate parts into an operable machine. but he's also appalled by the potential disaster this could bring. Eventually, he's led to the weed-like alien at the heart of the ship. This creature introduces itself as Jal Kalaf, Darak Paul Caparel Jal 7, or Darak 7 for short. And when the Doctor accuses him of being a criminal who's poisoning Calcutta, Darak 7 denies it. And he says that the real culprit is Veek 9, who is on Earth using stolen glamour tech and stealing humans to make Gellum warriors. And Darak 7 is only there to find Veek 9 and take him back to the 11 hives of Jal Palor for trial. He claims to have been chasing Veek 9 for 4 centuries, hence the patched up and degraded state of his ship. However, he says Veek 9's ship is in worse condition and is the source of the poison. He adds that his quarry intends to harvest 50,000 humans to make an army of 10,000 warriors. And the Doctor, though, kind of suggests that he leave the tracing of the renegade to him, because the TARDIS has better technology for seeing through glamour tech.
And then the Doctor suddenly reappears in the Campbell's garden, teleporting back down, or there, I guess, depending on where the ship is hidden, and tells Donna that they have to return to the TARDIS. And they go through the back streets to the TARDIS, but arrive just in time to see it being beamed away by these Gellum warriors. The Doctor uses his sonic to reveal that the tracking device has been disguised as a fly buzzing around Donna's head this entire time, which she's been swatting at occasionally, which has led the alien forces to the TARDIS. And they walk away from the scene only to find Dr. Gopal waiting for them at the next corner, pointing a gun at them. Adelaide also returns to the camp for work, and in the early evening, Gellum warriors appear again and begin to snatch people at random, vanishing with their captives and reappearing almost immediately to capture more humans. Both Edward Morgan and Adelaide are taken, along with dozens of other local Indians. And Ranjit is able to evade the warriors by hiding out of their sight, and after the attack ends, he's able to find Gandhi, who also was still in his tent in meditation, and persuades Gandhi to go with him in search of the Doctor.
Yeah, so back with Dr. Gopal. Dr. Gopal's gun is a Meson disintegrator 7.5, which means that Gopal is Veek 9. And Gopal accuses the Doctor of being in league with Darak 7, who he says is a bounty hunter and an opportunist mercenary. And the Cameron appears from nowhere and uses his catapult to shoot the gun from Gopal's hand. And the Doctor picks up the weapon, and Gopal begs the Doctor to kill him, as he says that he's being persecuted for speaking out against the tyranny of the Hive Council on his homeworld and is hiding on Earth. And he claims that Darak 7 has traced him and is using his time on Earth to build an army of warriors that he can sell back to his government. So the Doctor suggests that they head back to Gopal's apartment for a cup of tea and a chance to have a chat. There the Doctor explains that Darak 7 let him go from the spaceship as a ruse to capture the TARDIS. So he needs to find a holding area where thousands of captives can be stored until a Hive transport ship arrives. He thinks it must be under the hills near Darak 7's ship. And they're interrupted by the arrival in the street outside of Ranjit and Gandhi, who are leading a large group of followers. And they've come to Gopal's residence in search of news of the Doctor and are delighted to find him already there. And they bring news about the attack on the camp.
That's a nice change of pace that we don't have an angry mob this time.
Yes. It's a mob wanting to help.
Yeah. And back at the Campbell residence, it comes under attack, and Sir Edgar and his wife Mary and his son Ronnie are among the next to be kidnapped by the warriors. And they find themselves transported into an underground cavern with hundreds of other people, fenced in by a glowing wall of energy. And the Doctor asks Gopal how he moved between his home and the ship, and Gopal produces a transmat pod, which the Doctor is able to activate with his screwdriver. This immediately causes a group of the Gellum warriors to appear in the room, because the tech had been activated. With a tweak of the controls, the Doctor disables them all, claiming that he has not killed them, as they were never technically alive. And then The Doctor opens the chest of one of the lifeless forms and is able to extract a matter relocator, and he adjusts it slightly so that it lands near but not in the holding area. And Donna, Gopal, Gandhi, Ranjit, and Cameron form a human chain holding onto the Doctor as he activates the device, which allows them to arrive on a steep slope in a rocky range of hills, kind of just inside the cave entrance. And then they make their way through that entrance and down a dark tunnel where the Doctor is able to drive away 3 mutated scorpions that bar the way, and then they reach a solid wall. And using his sonic, the Doctor is able to disable the glamour technology, revealing the door of the spaceship. It's then decided that the Doctor, Gandhi, and Ranjit will enter the craft, while the others use the sonic to find and free the other prisoners.
So Donna leads them down the tunnels until they arrive at a cavern connecting the prisoners. And using setting 59A on the screwdriver, sonic screwdriver fans, as the Doctor is instructed, she manages to break down the energy barrier, and the Campbells joyfully greet Cameron, while the other prisoners flee into the tunnels. And Gopal uses his transmat device to kill the Gelem warriors who try to stop them. And Ranjit thinks that they, so back with the Doctor, Ranjit and Gandhi and Cameron. Hang on, no, am I getting confused? Who's with whom? It's the Doctor, Gandhi and Ranjit.
Yep.
Yes. So the Doctor, Gandhi and Ranjit, they think that Ranjit thinks they might have to kill the alien bounty hunter, but Gandhi suggests that violence is never the solution. Dear listener, I nearly said that violence is near the solution. I don't think Gandhi would have said that, not in this book. So Gandhi suggests that violence is never the solution. The Doctor agrees and says he wants to try to find a peaceful solution. And they enter the central chamber and notice the TARDIS. The Doctor begins by ordering Darak 7 to leave with his dirty Zytron energy. And the Jalkaraf responds by producing warriors who take them prisoner and push Gandhi into the extraction machine.
Which would turn him into one of those warriors along with 4 other humans.
Yeah, and the old man simply agrees. However, rather than being killed, his presence inside the machine causes it to explode. And there's an explanation. So the Doctor announces that the machine was designed to take the badness out of people, but there was no badness in Gandhi. So I have to say I had a slight eye roll at this. I mean, I am not an expert on Gandhi, okay? I'm just going to make that very, very clear. But if ever you have a character, whoever they are, that they're kind of like so pure that no hint of badness or anything could be found, you just go, really? Okay, yeah. Fine. But yeah, so there's a knock-on effect from the explosion as systems begin to fail all around them. And they escape into the TARDIS as the ship explodes. Donna gathers Gopal, the Campbells, and their servant, Bacharach, as well as Edward Morgan. And together they form a vast chain with those prisoners who are too sick or injured to flee from the cavern. Like they're all holding hands. And using the transmat pod, she takes them out into the open air. Which is convenient, isn't it?
It's kind of a cool sequence because it's like the "We Are the World" sort of moment where everyone's holding hands.
It is, but also sometimes transmats don't work like that.
Yeah, that was convenient. Yeah.
Yes, but yeah, so they find themselves on the slopes as the first of the other freed captives pour out from the cave entrance. They're at a loss of what to do because it's dark and they're lost in a vast landscape miles from Calcutta.
So the Doctor in the TARDIS is able to return to Donna and her crowd of escapees, and he ushers them all inside. And he transports them back to the army camp and heads to the isolation tent, where he observes that the Zytron patients are all on the mend, including Major Decker, who's fully recovered. Before the Doctor left the imploding spaceship, he also rigged an energy inversion program so the ship would suck back its dangerous particles as it was destroyed, so removing the infection from the populace. And with a final farewell to Gandhi, the Doctor and Donna return to the TARDIS and prepare to leave. The Doctor informs Donna that Gandhi is in the last months of his life and is due to be assassinated early the following year. Donna's saddened by this and remarks that Gandhi reminds her a lot of the Doctor, who replies that he could never be as forgiving as Gandhi. So it ends on a bit of a downbeat and
Yes.
dark note there, where the
Yes.
doctor says Gandhi's more forgiving than I'll ever be.
Yeah.
So what did you make of this one?
Yeah. Yeah, it's complicated, isn't it? I enjoyed the evocation of place because I've never been to India. Though I have been to Sri Lanka. Yeah, I felt at times that I could smell Calcutta, but and also as well, I was very pleased that we saw the negative side of what the British were up to. We don't see a lot of partition. Like, partition is there as this looming presence in it, but we don't actually see it. But that's also possibly just as well, because I think that it would just make the story far too dark. Yeah, I mean, I must say, I find myself worried as to what happens to Ranjit and all these various other characters.
And also, with Gandhi being included, I mean, he pops up occasionally and offers some pearls of wisdom, but he's kind of superfluous to the proceedings. And
Yes.
I guess I would have rather either his presence be greatly expanded and like make the novel about him more, or removed entirely, because he's just kind of there hanging out.
Yeah, he's there kind of as Yoda.
Yeah.
Isn't he? He's there kind of like coming out with bits of wisdom and then just kind of like fading back into the narrative. And like, oh, okay. I mean, it might have been better for him to have been spoken about, but we don't actually see.
Yeah.
Though I must say, I think it's a good thing to educate readers, especially the young readers that would have been reading the BBC sort of new series books about India, and just make people realise that that there's definitely, shall we say, there were mistakes made. Because, as I say, I don't know about nowadays in schools, but certainly we were not taught anything particularly critical of the British Empire. I mean, I remember that there was a lot of kind of like gnashing and wailing about the fact that when Hong Kong was handed over to China, that like at last there would be a bit of the British Empire where the sun would set, so like you because people say, oh, the sun would never set, the sun never sets on the British Empire, and I was like, oh, people. But yeah, as you say, I mean, I think some of the language is also dated. I mean, quite a bit of the dated language is in the dialogue or its characters' descriptions, I think. I'm trying to remember whether there is anything that's actually from the narrator.
Yeah, I don't think there is.
Yeah.
It's more in context for the characters. But
Yeah.
I had a similar educational experience in the States where things like manifest destiny were taught as like good things versus critical of the indigenous populations that are there already, who may not want to be conquered.
Yes.
So yeah, kind of a similar experience there. I also wonder how this would have worked if it was, say, a pure historical instead.
It would have got darker, I think. It had to have got darker.
Yeah, I feel like that would have worked maybe more as like a virgin missing adventure and not...
Yes.
Tonally, it wouldn't fit in with the new series adventures, but it is kind of an interesting what if.
Yes. Yeah, imagine putting Hartnell. That would have been interesting. But yeah, I thought that Donna was captured well. I thought the Doctor was as well. Yeah, I mean, Donna is very funny in this book.
Yeah, the Doctor and Donna interactions felt very Fires of Pompeii to me, as they're kind of walking around the Roman markets and taking it all in. And yeah, that felt very like of a piece or of season or series 4. Yeah,
there's quite a profound bit when Donna reflects on the fact that like the Doctor is her ticket home, and that she could, if she doesn't find him, she could end up stuck in the past. And like you don't often see that from companions.
Yeah.
And and it definitely kind of crosses her mind that she might now be stuck here, and that this isn't possibly a great place to be stuck.
I don't know if you watch Star Trek: Strange New Worlds.
No, we don't have Paramount Plus.
There's the scenes with Adelaide in the makeshift hospital remind me quite a bit of. There's a season 2 Strange New Worlds episode called Under the Cloak of War, where Nurse Chapel is working in a camp that's under attack by Klingons, and there's just this sense of dread and just overwhelming amount of work where in the series, like every 5 seconds you'd hear incoming transport of like people who are injured or seeking attention, and that same vibe of just hopelessness came through for me. And I think it was partially because I was watching that at the same time as I was reading this over the past month, and that kind of reflected for me. So how would you score this one?
With a sigh, I think I'm going to give it a 6, which feels already quite low, but I don't know. The book loses serious points for Gandhi being so pure, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, okay, let's what? Yeah, and I would have that issue, I think, with any character, but especially any historical figure as well. You just kind of go, oh, come on.
Yeah, are they depicted as a real person or just as a saint, sort of?
Yes, and Gandhi is depicted as a saint here. And like I say, I am not an expert, but I also as well kind of think like nobody can be a saint. Not even saints. Yeah, I enjoyed it. We've definitely read worse books, but there were certainly some points where I felt that we could have got into a bit more of the kind of like the meat of it. So, like as you say, like if this had been like a missing adventure or something, then yeah, I think we'd have had a more satisfying tale.
You can also feel that the author is holding back on some of the horror elements. Like he wants to go into like a lot of detail, and I think in the acknowledgments he mentions, I think one of his children talking about how they were the target audience, so he had to dial some of that back, and you can kind of feel that sense of restraint in the narrative too.
Yes, but to which you kind of think, okay, maybe you find another setting. If you're having to write with the handbrake on, because we know partition is coming, and people that know about that period know that it's pretty grim, and it's going to be really quite grim in Calcutta, or Kolkata as we nowadays call it, because Bengal as a province had earlier on before the events of this book had been split into West and East Bengal, and then it gets split in again where East Bengal is a separate country from India. You hear mentions of the upheaval in the background, but I don't know. I just felt it was that the book was touching upon themes it didn't quite know what to do with.
Yeah, I echo that.
Yeah. What mark would you give it?
I would say it's a 7 for me.
Okay.
So kind of right along. I'll put a low 7. Kind of along those same lines. For me, it was. I actually wrote down it was a quick and breezy read, because it kind of flew by, almost like a Target book in terms of how quickly I read it.
Yeah.
Which seems odd because it's
bizarre, isn't it?
Dances around the kind of those dark those sensitive topics.
It's very readable. Very, very readable. I mean, I read it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But I was also kind of like, I don't know, it was kind of like watching some action movie and then realizing, oh, it's going into a major atrocity.
It was. I would say it's breezy, almost in a bad way, like a much too humid breeze to opine on the climate there. It does what it says on the tin, but it just moved too fast, and I would have appreciated a little bit more depth in the subject matter, and then also not really enough twists or turns in the plot where it seemed pretty telegraphed, and even the doctor at first trusting the other agent and then not. It's like kind of in my back of my mind, I'm like, oh, he's probably lying here.
Yes.
One of its strengths, I feel like, is it felt like a missing episode of the season it was from, especially with the author probably not having seen much of that particular season that he was writing for. But it also felt somewhat inconsequential.
Yeah.
In terms of it's not going to have much of an impact on Donna, apart from her getting to meet Gandhi, and she still hasn't had her curry. So it was also kind of funny that at the end of chapter 9, the doctor uses the phrase "Wild Blue Yonder," which is the name of the second 60th special, and Mark Morris is going to be the one novelizing that episode. So I had a bit of a chuckle when I read that phrase. But I agree with all of the criticisms that you've raised about it. It's just it felt like it was trying to strike a balance, and I would have wanted either more depth from a historical perspective and I can't believe I'm saying this, but the horror aspects expanded upon too.
Yeah.
So it just, in my mind, it felt a little restrained by the new series, by the range it appears in, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. So I do appreciate the fact that it took place in what is not a kind of, it's not taking place in Britain, in Europe. We are going somewhere that Doctor Who doesn't often go. So at least we are experiencing another culture. Full credit for that, because so many books don't try that.
And I feel like of the times we visited India, I feel like Demons of the Punjab did it better.
Yes.
If I had to compare the two.
Yes. Well, Demons of the Punjab deals with the issues more or less head on.
Mm-hmm. And this is kind of skirting around the boundaries, yeah.
Yes, and telling a light-hearted romp.
Indeed. Well, that's Ghosts of India.
Yes.
Shall we move on to listener feedback?
Yeah, let's. So we have an email. We heard from listener Shag, who said that he's been catching up on his listening and he's enjoyed the recent episodes. So he gave us some rapid fire thoughts. So firstly, Bad Therapy, Shag felt was such a wonderful and powerful instalment in the late New Adventures. And so many of those had a darker tone with powerful emotional stories. And he loved the foreknowledge of the TV movie that was sprinkled throughout the final books. And he said that he hadn't read it since the original release, but he thoroughly enjoyed our coverage and insights, and it brought back so many memories. And Harvest of Time, he said that this is another fantastic review, which is very kind of him. And he said he has a special fondness for this book as he'd read it whilst travelling to the 2014 Gallifrey 1 convention. And he said that this was during that phase of hiring well-known authors to write Doctor Who, and Alistair Reynolds knocked it out of the park. And he was shocked and excited by the idea of a multi-master story. And he was surprised that it hadn't been done before this, and because this predates World Enough and Time. And he was thrilled that we enjoyed the book. And he sort of thanks us for the wonderful listening. He says he's interested in our opinion on Ghosts of India. And he said that he was considering reading along, but he reckoned that he would wait for the review. And this apparently is our fault, because our previous review of Mark Morris's Deep Blue kind of spooked him. So, yeah, I mean, Deep Blue leans into the horror a lot more.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this one, it'll be a fast read if you decide to read it, Jay. I'll say that.
Yes. Yeah, it will.
How about on Facebook?
On Facebook, yeah, we had comments about Harvest of Time. So Keith say that the cover wins the Oddly Rude Cover Award. And Frank Davis said that they'll try to join in with us this month. And Rain Swamsky said that it was an excellent book. And Rain can't wait to hear our reactions to it. So that's all good.
And on Twitter, which I'm still calling Twitter because
yes,
I have not updated my app.
Yes, I have. And as I was listening back to last month's episode, I said, it won't be allowed to change its name. I was like, oh, yeah, no, by that point I was listening to it, it had changed its name on my phone.
Well, it's still the same on my phone. But yes. On Twitter, we heard from John Porter, who says that he had fond memories of the Harvest of Time. And echoing one of the Facebook comments from Keith, I think, we heard from Professor Stephen Hawkwind that he was excited that we read Harvest of Time, but that was the one with the giant Willy rocket ship on the cover. Which, yes. Of course, given Alpha Centauri and the time sensor device from the Time Monster, I think it rather fits the Pertwee design and aesthetic quite well. So.
Yes. Is Stephen Hawkwind a real name? I'm going to have a look. I don't think so.
No, I think it's a...
I assume it's a pseudonym.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool. So I think that gets us to the point where you tell us what we're reading for next month.
It is indeed. And so, Chris, you had picked Ghosts of India in part because it featured the 10th Doctor and Donna with yes. David Tennant and Catherine Tate both returning in the anniversary specials. Yes. And I thought, why not keep that theme going? So for October, we're going to be reading the Panini graphic novel, The Iron Legion, featuring the Fourth Doctor. And it includes a little-known story called The Star Beast, starring everyone's favorite Beep the Meep. And this was originally published in April of 2004 and features 5 comic strips from the pages of Doctor Who Weekly. The Iron Legion, City of the Damned, The Star Beast, The Dogs of Doom, and The Time Witch. And it also features an interview with Dave Gibbons. So exciting stuff and tying into the upcoming specials.
Yes. Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
Yeah, really looking forward to it.
Yes.
So until next month, I've been Matt in Minnesota.
Chris in South London. Happy reading and stay safe.
Thank you for listening to the all-new adventures of the Doctor Who Book Club podcast. Special thanks to George C. Music for use of their song Doctor Who Theme Swing Jazz Version. You can follow us on Twitter at ANDWBC Podcast and like us on Facebook. Help other listeners to find us by leaving a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice. You can contact the show by emailing your thoughts to andwbcpodcast@gmail.com. And until next month, happy reading.
Degraded state of his ship. Are you still there?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hello, are you still there? I think I lost you.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I'll carry on reading. However, he says, I'll go and have a look and see where Matt is. Are you there? Have you gone? Oh, gosh. Right, okay, Matt appears to have lost the internet. So, whilst we wait for the internet to return to Matt, I will stop recording for now. Ta-ra!
Hi, can you hear me okay? Sorry about that.
Cool. No worries.
It just dropped for some reason.
Yes, that's fine. So I finished reading through to the end of the glamour technology bit.
All right.
Cool.
So yeah, Iron Legion for next month. That'll be fun.
Yes. Yeah.
And I listed out the stories in case.
Yes, I did. Yes,
you can follow along by the.
Yes, I noticed that. So yes,
if listeners have the original issues still, they can read it that way as well.
Yes, for example, me. Yes, so I'll go and read those. Yes, so fortunately I have a week off in September, so I suspect that part of that will be spent sitting down and just reading.
Excellent.
So that will be grand. Very much looking forward to that. I almost thought earlier on this month, shall I start reading The Iron Legion, because we're almost certainly going to be doing it next month. So,
yep, you guessed correctly.
Yes, indeed.